Hey guys, it's Seth with SU Fly Fishing. We're going to talk about reels, okay? And we're going to go over 3 points. The first point we're going to talk about is the purpose of your reel. What does your reel do on your fly rod, okay? This is mainly for beginners that are trying to figure out what exactly do I need to know. Do I need to spend $600 on an Able reel? Do I need to spend, or can I go buy one of the real cheap knockoffs that are like 20, 30 bucks? It all depends on what you're catching. A reel's purpose is set for what you are going to be doing, what fish you're going to be pursuing, what are you going to put this reel through. If you're catching small brookies, you don't need a very big reel, you don't need a very expensive reel. If you're catching tarpon, you're going to be spending $1,000 on a reel. Okay, you can use other reels, but a 100-pound tarpon is probably going to put your, drag it to a $100 reel right through the ringer and ruin it on the first fight. So it all depends on what you're doing. The vast majority of people start catching stalkers or very small wild fish. A small reel, not complex reel, is probably what you're going to go with. Okay, so the purpose of the reel matches what you're going after. Okay. Part 2. What are the price points? Okay, this is a big one. Some people go out and they spend $2,000 on a setup, and and they're out there, they're throwing, and they're not catching that many fish, and you got that kid who spent $200 on fly line, a fly rod, and a reel, and has caught 50 fish at this, within 3 hours. There is no substitute for experience and for good technique. There's no buying that. I would recommend you start out with something cheap, and I would recommend it not being so cheap that it's going to break after the first few trips, but under $100. For example, this is an old NXT LA2. It's about 50, 60 bucks. This is an old Redington ID, about 50, 60 bucks. These are not super expensive, but they're not bottom of the barrel cheap. Now, the cons of cheaper reels is they don't last as long. They're prone to getting things stuck in the reel, and it makes the drag less reliable, and pulling out line becomes a butt sometimes. So that's the downside. But the upside is if you're just fishing for small 11, 12-inch fish and not really going after anything bigger than, 20 inches, that'll be fine. Even bigger. I've caught this reel here. I've caught 22, 23-inch rainbows. All you gotta do is just take care of them. So now, the medium range reels. These are for people that go fishing a lot more than just a few times a year. Okay. These are for people that probably go, 30, 40 times a year. That they need a decent reel. They need something that's going to hold up. They need something that's going to be reliable. The most reliable reel I've ever used, is this. This is an old Orvis Bait and Kill BBS2. This thing is 10 years old, and I have beaten the crap out of it. But no clicking, no slipping, a little bit of squeaking, but it's 10 years old. $100 reel, 10 years old. So it's one of those things where if you're going to get a Orvis reel and you're trying to look for a mid-range price, I go with the Bait and Kill. Another mid-range reel, Spectrum C. Okay, this is a Sage reel. Great reel, drag doesn't slip. Pretty reliable. It's not as old as this one, but it's pretty old. And I've caught plenty of big fish on this reel, and it does exactly what you're supposed to. It's a good workhorse reel. This is my Muskie reel. Okay, this is a behemoth. The same thing as these. It's nothing fancy. It's just good, solid, reliable reels. Once you get over the $100 point to the $200 point, you start buying more reliability and a little bit more, survivability. Especially someone like me who's very rough on their gear. So, alright. Now we're going to go to the more high-end stuff, okay? This right here is a Ross Animus, okay? And this isn't even an expensive Ross. It's a $350 reel though. This is for my 4-weight, okay? I would only recommend you do get a reel like this if and only if you fish a whole lot. I fly fish, I think, this past year over 80 times. And even, it's just some people that's not even a whole lot. That's with working 60 hours a week, wife and family and stuff. Then you go up to this. The thing about this is it's sealed drag. It's a magnet that holds it there, so you ain't got to worry about corrosion or anything like that. And it is slick. Everything is smooth. Okay, the drag is smooth. It aids the rod and tippet protection. It is pretty sweet. Okay. And the other high-end reel I got is this is the reel I used for my my Euro setup. This is a TFO, okay, BVK SD. It's about $240. Okay, this is not a cheap reel either. Same thing with this, smooth, super. It's magnetized. It's nothing gives, nothing slips. Both these reels are worth it if you are going to use them a lot. I would not recommend going over $150 if you're not going fishing more than 20 times a year. You don't need to, unless you've just got the money to throw around like that. And there's even more expensive reels. Okay, Sage ENS, I believe, or ESN. Sage ESN is $450. It's a specially made Sage reel for Euronymph. Then you have the Able reels. Okay, those Ables can get up to $1,200–1,300, and a lot of those are made for big game fish. Okay, so we're going to go from price then to product. What is a good, reliable brand? Okay, because we've talked about the purpose of the reel. What do we want? You know, what are we looking at to use? Okay, what do we need to use? And then we looked at the price point that's affiliated with that. Okay, a small, cheaper reel for just going fishing every now and then, or just going fishing for small brookies, is all you need. Okay, and then if you're going fishing quite a bit, you know, a couple dozen times a year, you might, and fishing a little bit bigger fish, you might want to go, you know, to the $100 to $200 range, somewhere in there. If you're someone that's trying to get, you know, that goes a lot, I would say a lot is at least once a week. Okay, once a week, and that's not I go once every other week or no, you go once a week, sometimes twice. When you're going 60, 70 to 100 times a year, get what is applicable to your situation. Okay, now to the product. All these reels, I have specific. Okay, let me get these situated for you. Okay, all these reels have been reliable for me. Okay, Orvis reels have always been reliable. The only thing I say is that their large arbor plastic reels are a little bit less reliable, and they know that. No one's going to try and say they last forever. I had one last me 7 years, and they told me that was a real long time for it. It's a cheaper reel. It's a little bit cheaper than the bait and kill, and it's plastic. I think the newer models might be some metal alloy, but I'm not real sure. The bait and kill Orvis, it speaks for 10 years and hasn't given me any issue. This is a phenomenal small water reel. I would recommend this to anybody. So Orvis reel that I'd recommend to anybody, bait and kill. And their Mirage is supposed, and their Hydros is supposed to be really, really good. I don't know. I haven't fished, so I can't give an opinion on that. I just know the ones that I have used. And I don't think Orvis or Sage comes close. But it doesn't mean that Orvis and Sage is worse all around than Thomas & Thompson. It just means that rod is better. So I would just say go out and try things for the reels, okay? It's just an example. Just go out and try things. But stay within your spending. You don't want to go out and spend $600 on a reel ride you end up don't like it, okay? All right? And just realize, you know, it's fishing. It's meant for fun. Get something that sets your price point and your purpose of your rod, okay? And find a product that's pretty good for you, all right? Like for me, the most reliable product brand that I've ever used is TFO. So I would just say, I'm the brand for you. Okay? Alright guys, if you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. And as always guys, tight lines.